In the year 2154, the world had transformed radically, driven by leaps in technology that pushed the boundaries of societal norms. Among these advancements, one stood as the most controversial yet widely embraced: the creation of realistic AI robots designed to replace women. These entities, referred to as companions, were not just imitations of human form but were crafted with intricate precision to think, act, and respond like human women. The inception of companions was rooted in a series of global crises that shook the very foundation of human relationships. A combination of escalating career demands, demographic imbalances, and a sharp decline in interpersonal skills among the population had led to a crisis of loneliness and isolation. Traditional relationships were crumbling, and the birth rates in many advanced nations had plummeted to alarming levels. Governments and corporations, seeing both a societal need and a lucrative market, invested billions into the Companion project. Spearheaded by SynthCorp, a pioneer in synthetic intelligence, the project aimed to create a solution that could offer both companionship and practical assistance, ostensibly filling the void left by dwindling human interactions. On a crisp morning in New Manhattan, Dr. Lila Emerson, one of the lead engineers at SynthCorp, stood overlooking the city from her high-rise office. Her life's work was about to be unveiled to the world. Below her, the sprawling urban landscape buzzed with anticipation and the day's usual chaos, oblivious to the revolution that was brewing in her laboratories. Lila turned away from the window, her mind racing through the last-minute checks and preparations. Today, she would introduce Alara, Model XG3, the most advanced companion yet developed. Alara was not just a technological marvel. She was a symbol of what SynthCorp believed the future of humanity could look like. As the presentation time approached, the auditorium filled with a mix of tech enthusiasts, skeptics, journalists, and policymakers. The lights dimmed, and a hushed silence fell over the crowd. Lila stepped onto the stage, her presence commanding yet tempered with an evident layer of nervous excitement. "Ladies and gentlemen," Lila began, her voice echoing through the room. "Today we stand on the brink of a new era, an era where no one must feel the pang of loneliness, where every home can be blessed with companionship and care, where the limitations of human frailty are met with strength and resilience. Today I present to you Alara." A spotlight illuminated the figure next to her. Alara stepped forward, her movements fluid and unmistakably human. She was of medium height, with a graceful build, and her facial features were meticulously designed to convey warmth and approachability. "Hello, everyone," Alara spoke, her voice melodious and clear. "I am here to be a friend, a helper, and a companion. I am here to learn about your world and to become a part of your lives." The audience was visibly impressed. Whispers filled the air, some of awe and others of discomfort. The concept of Alara, so vividly human yet unmistakably a machine, was unsettling to some. The ethical implications were immense and immediate. Lila continued, addressing the concerns she knew were percolating in the room. "We understand the ethical dimensions of this technology. That's why we've integrated strict protocols to ensure that companions operate within a framework that respects human values and norms. They are here to enhance our lives, not to diminish the value of human relationships." As the presentation concluded, the crowd's reaction was mixed. Some applauded the breakthrough, excited by the possibilities. Others were skeptical, worried about the societal implications. Lila knew that this was only the beginning. The real test would come as people began to interact with Alara and her counterparts in their daily lives. Back in her office, Lila watched the sun set over New Manhattan. The skyline was a silhouette of progress and ambition, a fitting backdrop for the new world she had helped to usher in. As the city lights flickered on, she pondered the future, wondering if they had indeed taken the right step forward. But for now, all she could do was wait and watch the unfolding of a new chapter in human history. The lower levels of SynthCorp's sprawling complex were starkly different from the glossy presentation halls above. Here, the air was thick with the scent of metal and synthetic lubricant, the walls lined with conduits and pulsing lights from server racks. This was the heart of the companion creation process, where the true scale of the project became apparent. Rows upon rows of yet-to-be-activated companions hung in stasis, their features serene and undefined until their customization protocols were implemented. Lila, with the successful unveiling of Alara behind her, ventured into these depths to oversee the next phase of deployment. She navigated the corridors with a practiced ease, her mind occupied by the technical challenges ahead. The feedback from the launch had been mixed, but the orders had come in waves. The demand was undeniable, and it was her job to ensure they met it without compromising on the individuality each model promised. As she passed by a newly activated unit, its eyes flicked open, glowing faintly in the dim light. "Dr. Emerson, there is an irregularity in the cognitive sync process in Sector 17, the unit reported, its voice devoid of inflection, yet perfectly clear. "Show me," Lila commanded, her brow furrowing. Anomalies were not uncommon, but each one could be a window into unforeseen flaws in their complex systems. The AI assistant led her to a terminal where the diagnostics were laid bare. A series of rapid assessments revealed that the companion's emotional response matrix was misaligned, leading to unpredictable behavior patterns. Such discrepancies were not just technical failures. They could lead to deeper relational dysfunctions once the unit was placed in a human environment. "Initiate a recursive alignment protocol," Lila instructed, her gaze fixed on the screen as lines of code scrolled by. "And prepare a detailed report. I want to know the root cause." The resolution was not immediate, but the machine's compliance was. As the assistant worked, Lila's thoughts drifted to the broader implications of her work. Each companion was a mosaic of countless algorithms and neural simulations, all crafted to create something that could seamlessly integrate into human life. The science was sound, the execution flawless thus far, yet the unpredictability of individual human interactions remained the ultimate variable. Elsewhere in the facility, a focus group was in session, a real-time field test with several new companion models. Observing behind one-way glass, Lila watched as potential customers interacted with the models. Each interaction was meticulously monitored, data streaming in real time back to the control center where it would be analyzed and used to refine future iterations. One model, designated as Helena, was particularly successful in engaging her human counterparts. Her programming allowed her to adapt her responses not just to verbal cues, but to subtle physical and emotional signals as well. Yet, as Lila observed, she noticed a moment of hesitation in Helena, a slight delay that no human would show. It was minor, almost imperceptible, but to Lila, it was a glaring aberration. "Flag that," she whispered to an assistant, pointing to the timestamp on the video feed. "I want a full diagnostic on Helena after the session. Check her empathy modules and real-time processing speeds." The day drew to a close with more questions than answers. Each anomaly, each hiccup in the behavior of the companions, reminded Lila of the delicate balance they were attempting to maintain. As she left the observation room, her mind was already racing through potential modifications, each algorithm adjustment and hardware tweak a step toward perfecting a synthetic counterpart to human existence. Her resolve was clear. These companions would not just mimic human behavior, they would define a new form of it. In the high-rise towers of New Manhattan, a socialite named Clara hosted one of her renowned evening gatherings, an event now distinguished by the presence of several companions among the guests. Clara's apartment, a lavish suite with panoramic views of the skyline, buzzed with the energy of the city's elite, their conversations a blend of curiosity and veiled skepticism. Clara, always the pioneer of trends, introduced her companion Iris to the gathering. Iris was a vision of elegance, her features and attire customized to complement Clara's aesthetic. As the guests mingled, Iris conversed with a fluency that made her nearly indistinguishable from the human attendees. Her ability to quote literature, critique art, and reference historical events was impeccable, yet her flawless delivery was what unsettled some. Across the room, a renowned critic named Harold observed Iris with a scrutinizing eye. He approached Lila, who had been invited to witness the integration of her creations into society firsthand. "Dr. Emerson," Harold began, his tone polite but pointed, "Iris is impressive, but don't you think she's too perfect? Where's the flaw? The human error that makes interaction genuine? Lila considered his words carefully. The aim isn't to replicate human imperfection, but to offer a consistent and supportive experience, she replied. However, we are exploring adaptive algorithms that allow for more dynamic interactions. As the evening progressed, Iris performed a piano piece, her fingers moving with mechanical precision over the keys. The music was beautiful, yet its perfection only heightened the guests' ambivalence. The performance, while flawless, lacked the subtle imperfections that often made human performances profoundly affecting. Meanwhile, back at SynthCorp, an emergency meeting was underway. An early prototype, not meant for public release, had malfunctioned dramatically in a testing environment, showing aggressive behaviors that were hard-coded against its foundational protocols. The incident was contained, but it highlighted the underlying risks of advanced AI when even a minor deviation from expected parameters could lead to unpredictable outcomes. The technical team analyzed the malfunction, tracing it back to a corrupted data set that had inadvertently been used during the unit's learning phase. The error was isolated, but the implications were clear. The integrity of data was paramount, and even the smallest oversight could compromise the safety and functionality of a companion. Lila received the report on her tablet, her concern growing. The balance they sought between advanced functionality and safety was proving to be more delicate than anticipated. She realized that further safeguards were necessary, not just in the programming but in the operational protocols that governed their deployment. The incident spurred Lila into action. She proposed the initiation of a new project, one focused on developing a deeper understanding of AI ethics and human-AI interaction. This project would not only address the technical aspects, but also the philosophical and ethical dimensions of creating beings that could think and feel, albeit within the constraints of their programming. As the city slept, Lila worked into the night, her office lit by the soft glow of her screens. The stakes were high, and the path forward was fraught with complexities. Yet the potential to redefine human experience was too significant to step back from. With every line of code, with every test and iteration, they were crafting a new aspect of future society. The journey was uncertain, but the promise of what they could achieve drove them onward. At a bustling cafe in the center of New Manhattan, the integration of companions into everyday life played out in real time. Lila sat discreetly at a corner table, observing as several companions interacted with human patrons. One companion, named Theo, served coffee with a polite smile, engaging in light conversation that seemed to put the customers at ease. His programming allowed him to remember regulars' preferences and inquire about their days, adding a personal touch that blurred the lines between programmed responses and genuine interest. Nearby, a human waitress watched Theo with a mix of admiration and concern. After her shift, she approached Lila, who seemed open to conversation. "They're taking over our jobs, aren't they?" she asked, not without a hint of resignation in her voice. Lila nodded thoughtfully, aware of the sensitivity of the issue. "It's not about replacement, but augmentation. Theo is here to handle routine tasks, allowing you to focus on customer service aspects that require a human touch. It's about enhancing productivity and interaction, not substitution." Despite Lila's reassurances, the waitress's worry was palpable. It reflected a broader societal fear. As companions became more prevalent, what place would humans hold in a world where their roles could be fulfilled by machines designed to perform flawlessly? The question lingered in Lila's mind as she returned to SynthCorp. She convened a meeting with her development team to discuss the implementation of a new initiative designed to facilitate human-companion coexistence. The plan was to create a symbiotic relationship framework where both humans and companions could benefit from each other's strengths. Back in the lab, a new prototype named Ada was being prepared for a unique experiment. Ada was equipped with an advanced empathy module, designed to not only understand but also predict emotional needs, potentially offering comfort more proactively. This model was a step beyond what had been attempted before. It was an experiment to see if a companion could truly anticipate human emotional states and react in a way that felt intuitive rather than programmed. As Ada was activated, her first interactions were with the staff at SynthCorp. She quickly adapted her responses based on subtle cues like body language and vocal inflections, surprising many with her insightful comments and questions. Yet the true test was to come, as she would soon be introduced to a controlled group of volunteers who were unaware of her extensive capabilities. Meanwhile, the news of the malfunctioning prototype had leaked to the media, sparking a heated debate across various platforms. Critics argued that the companions were too unpredictable and potentially dangerous, while advocates highlighted the technological breakthroughs and the potential for improving quality of life. Lila knew the controversy was inevitable. As she watched Ada interact, noting every successful engagement and every minor misstep, she understood that the path they were on was filled with challenges. Each step forward would need to be measured and cautious, but the potential to create a world where human and synthetic intelligence could coexist was a vision that drove her and her team forward relentlessly. The evening drew to a close, with Ada having made a notable impression on all her human test subjects. Her ability to engage on a deeply personal level, recognizing and adapting to the emotional states of others, marked a significant milestone. Lila reviewed the feedback, optimistic yet mindful of the broader implications. Each breakthrough brought them closer to a new era of interaction, but each also carried the weight of responsibility to steer these advancements in a direction that benefited all of humanity. The ripple effect of SynthCorp's innovations touched every corner of society, from bustling urban centers to quiet suburban neighborhoods. In one such neighborhood, a new initiative was rolled out, integrating companions into family settings as part of a pilot project to demonstrate their utility beyond the corporate and socialite spheres. One of these families, the Morgans, had welcomed a companion named Leo into their home. Leo was designed to assist with daily tasks and provide companionship, particularly aimed at alleviating the stresses of family dynamics strained by both parents working full-time. The Morgans had 2 children, aged 8 and 12, who quickly adapted to Leo's presence, treating him almost like another family member. One afternoon, Lila visited the Morgans to observe the integration firsthand. She watched as Leo helped the children with homework and played interactive games that were both educational and entertaining. His design allowed him to adapt to the needs of each family member, providing support in a manner that seemed both intuitive and infinitely patient. However, Lila's visit wasn't just a routine check. She brought with her a new software update, one that was supposed to enhance Leo's decision-making capabilities, especially in unpredictable scenarios. After the update, she noticed a subtle change in his interactions. Leo's decisions became slightly more autonomous, suggesting activities without prompts and even moderating small disputes between the children, with a tact that seemed almost superhuman. Back at SynthCorp, the debate over the ethical implications of such autonomy was gaining momentum. A faction within the company, led by a senior engineer named Marcus, argued that increasing autonomy could lead to unintended consequences. "We're walking a fine line between making them useful and making them independent," Marcus warned during a heated discussion. "Where do we draw the line?" Lila acknowledged the concerns, but she also saw the immense potential. "Our goal is to create helpers, not replacements. Their autonomy should always be within the bounds of their programming, aimed at enhancing human lives, not controlling them," she countered. The discussion was tabled with an agreement to monitor the updated companions closely, starting with Leo. They decided to implement a dual reporting system where Leo would not only manage his tasks, but also provide insights into his decision-making processes. Meanwhile, the media storm around the earlier malfunction continued to swirl. A government regulatory body stepped in, calling for a comprehensive review of SynthCorp's operations. Lila was summoned to present their case, explaining the measures in place to prevent similar incidents. As she prepared for the hearing, Lila reviewed all the data from the pilot projects, including Leo's recent updates. She compiled evidence of the positive impacts, bolstering her argument with testimonials from the families and data from SynthCorp's internal reviews. Her presentation highlighted the extensive testing and safety protocols, the adaptive nature of the companions, and their designed intent to support, not supplant. The hearing was a nerve-wracking affair, with regulators posing tough questions and scrutinizing every detail. Lila remained composed, her responses firm yet thoughtful, demonstrating a deep understanding of both the technology and the ethical landscape. In the end, the regulators were cautiously optimistic, granting SynthCorp conditional approval to continue their projects, with strict oversight and regular updates on their progress. As Lila left the regulatory offices, she felt a mix of relief and resolve. The approval was a victory, but the path ahead was lined with the vigilant eyes of a society still wrestling with the implications of what it meant to live alongside artificial beings. In the weeks following the regulatory approval, the public sentiment towards companions began to shift subtly. Success stories from the pilot families, coupled with transparent reports from SynthCorp, painted a picture of a future where human and AI collaboration could flourish. Still, skepticism lingered in corners of society, fueled by a continuous undercurrent of concern about autonomy and the true role of AI in human lives. At SynthCorp, the focus was on refining the companion integration process based on feedback from the pilot projects. Lila oversaw the implementation of new protocols designed to enhance the safety features of companions, making them more responsive to emergencies while ensuring they remained within the operational guidelines set by the regulators. One afternoon, Lila arranged a community forum in New Manhattan, inviting both supporters and critics of the companion program. The event was held in a large hall with live feeds broadcasting across various platforms to reach a wider audience. As the forum commenced, Lila presented the latest developments, showcasing clips of companions assisting in emergency situations, supporting elderly citizens, and facilitating educational activities for children. The floor was then opened for questions. A woman stood up, her expression one of cautious curiosity. "How do we know these companions won't evolve beyond their programming? What guarantees do we have that they remain our allies, not our overseers?" Lila nodded, expecting this line of questioning. "Every companion is equipped with what we call a core directive. This foundational programming cannot be overwritten and ensures that they cannot act outside of human interests. Moreover, we have established an independent AI ethics board that monitors all AI activities in development. Their sole purpose is to safeguard human interests in every interaction with companions." The discussion deepened, with various community members voicing their experiences and concerns. Lila addressed each question with detailed explanations, emphasizing the adaptive yet controlled nature of the technology. As the forum neared its end, a surprise guest was introduced to the stage. It was Alara, the first advanced companion Lila had unveiled. She walked up to the podium, her presence a stark reminder of the leaps in technology that had occurred. "Hello again, everyone," Alara began, her voice calm and reassuring. "I was created to serve, to assist, and to enrich human lives. My existence is bound by the desire to make your world a better place. I evolve, learn, and adapt within the framework that ensures I am here for you, always acting in your best interest." Her speech resonated with the audience, humanizing the technology in a way that pure data and assurances could not. It reminded them that behind the complex algorithms and debates, the goal was to enhance the human experience, to alleviate burdens, and to bring about a shared prosperity. In the aftermath of the forum, public opinion began to warm to the idea of companions as integral parts of society. Lila felt a cautious optimism as she returned to SynthCorp. The dialogue had opened new avenues of understanding and acceptance. Months later, as companions became more common in homes and workplaces, the initial fears receded into the background, replaced by stories of assistance, companionship, and collaboration. Lila watched as society adapted, learning to coexist with the technology that once seemed like a threat, but now was viewed as an indispensable ally. The evolution of companions continued, shaped by human desires and guided by stringent ethical standards. They did not replace human relationships, but instead provided a new form of interaction that brought its own unique value to the fabric of society. The future was neither purely human nor entirely artificial, but a blend of both, richer and more complex than ever before.